picture us all naked.
No. That's like the worst advice.
I said, you better not picture me.
They only give that advice when they want to mess you up. No, just know that it's interesting.
She's fine. She's just making noises.
Okay. Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
I want you all to picture a child in the hospital. He is coughing so hard that he cannot breathe. The coughing fits last up to a full minute, and the child is left gasping for breath after the coughing stops. The fits become so bad that he cannot breathe, and the next day, the child is diagnosed with severe and permanent brain damage due to lack of oxygen secondary to pertussis. The worst part of this scenario is the entire situation could have been prevented if the child had been vaccinated against pertussis. There are numerous diseases that specifically affect children because their immune systems are still developing. People should vaccinate their children in order to prevent death and these preventable fatal illnesses. Children who receive these shots have a higher quality of life and extended lifespan compared to those who are not vaccinated. Vaccinations are given in order to decrease child morbidity and mortality, and the benefits of vaccinating children early on greatly outweigh the potential risks. We have all heard how important vaccines are for children, but how do they actually work? Vaccines enable our immune system to fight off dangerous diseases by working with the body in the following ways. My visual aid, this is a syringe. Vaccines reduce the risk of infection by working with the body's natural defenses to help it safely develop immunity to disease. The contents of the vaccine introduce a weakened or dead version of the pathogen to the immune system. The immune system responds to the pathogen and retains memory cells that can recognize the same pathogen in the future. If the same disease-causing organism attacks the host post-vaccination, then the host's immune system will be able to fight off a potential infection or illness. The contents of the vaccine mimic an infection without actually causing illness to the host. A slight fever or soreness can occur after receiving a vaccine, and these symptoms are expected as the body builds immunity. Now that we know how vaccines work in the body, we will look at why children should always be vaccinated. There are several reasons why children should be vaccinated at an early age. Several fatal diseases remain common in the U.S., and vaccines protect our children from these serious illnesses and death. There are some life-threatening diseases that are no longer seen in the U.S. because of protection afforded by vaccines. Vaccinating all children allows herd immunity to take place, and this phenomenon prevents outbreaks of disease. Herd immunity occurs when most members of a community or region are immunized against a contagious disease, and there's a decreased risk of disease outbreak because there are not enough hosts to transmit the disease. Most importantly, vaccines protect our most vulnerable population from a painful death that could easily have been prevented. The use of vaccines have prevented 2.5 million deaths in the United States alone. Now that we know how important vaccinations are for kids, how do we know which vaccines to give? These are a few of the vaccines that should be administered for children from birth up till 12 months old. The first hepatitis B shot should be administered at birth. The hepatitis B vaccines are a series of 3 shots given over 18 months to prevent liver problems. A DTaP vaccine should be given to the child who is 2 months old. The DTaP shot will protect the child from the following threatening illnesses: diphtheria, tetanus, and pertussis, also known as whooping cough. Right? The MMR vaccine and the varicella vaccine should be administered to the child who is 12 months old. The MMR vaccine will prevent the child from contracting measles, mumps, and rubella. And the varicella vaccine will provide the child with defense against the chickenpox. Now that we know the importance of receiving vaccinations, what are the risks of not vaccinating our children? Children who are not vaccinated when they are young are at a high risk for contracting active and eradicated diseases. Across the country, there have been outbreaks of diseases that had previously been eradicated in the United States. Several illnesses are making a comeback in the U.S. because people are not vaccinating their children against these diseases. For example, a child who is not vaccinated against Haemophilus influenzae B meningitis can catch the disease from someone who is infected but asymptomatic. A person who has been vaccinated against HIV can have the bacteria in their body, but they're not sick because they were protected by the vaccine. However, there are some specific circumstances in which a child should not receive a vaccine, such as if they have a strong allergic reaction to the vaccine or its components. So remember, vaccines protect our children from numerous fatal diseases. This is the best way to ensure that our children are protected against illnesses that cause them serious harm and death. Anyone who needs further information on vaccines can go to the CDC website or to their local health department to get brochures. Life-threatening conditions will always exist for humans. Vaccinating our children is the best way to protect them from preventable diseases and ailments. And we should all do our best to take care of our kids because one day they'll be taking care of us. Thank you.